Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Wayne County. We are a diverse congregation that welcomes you as you are, regardless of your age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, economic status, or physical ability. We come together to seek deeper meaning and understanding from each other and the world around us. Your presence here today is a gift that brings us closer to that understanding. We are an active community that lives its values beyond the hours of Sunday service. I would like to call your attention to the following. Join the UUFWC Humanist group today in the large group room at 11:30. You will hear Mary Gentry do a presentation on the New Apostolic Reformation, Christian Nationalism in Action. This presentation will be followed by questions and a discussion. Next Sunday, May 11th, join us for Flower Communion. Please bring a flower from your garden to share and plan on taking a different one home. If you would like to find out more about our activities, feel free to ask Karen Skubik, our membership coordinator.
Thank you, Olivia, and please do ask me if you wish to find out more. I always like it when people come and talk to me about different activities we have here, so I can fill you in just a little more than they have time to do during the service. It says welcoming by my name, but I just want to thank all the people that are involved in welcoming this morning. It's not just Karen Skubik. We have the door greeter that was here when you came in. We have the visitor greeter. I know Nancy was busy giving a tour this morning, so some of you might not have seen her when you came in. We have the sanctuary greeter here, Barb's back there, and we have all of you that have been very welcoming to everybody. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. And for those that are new here today, if you didn't get a tour before the service, I'll be in the back, and either myself or Nancy can give you a tour after the service. So welcome.
Good morning, friends. I'm going to do something, I'm going to ask you to respond in something that's a very normally Christian church manner. I'm going to say something, and I want you to respond with, and also with you. May the force be with you. That's a Star Wars thing. Exactly. Today is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. For those of you who may not know, I'm a little bit of a Star Wars fan. Something I'm wearing might have given that away today. I had thoroughly planned to do a Star Wars service today. I had an idea that I actually have an old Star Wars sermon I almost brought out for y'all, but I found it a little bit dated. I thought about talking about the idea of redemption and how Darth Vader actually becomes redeemed at the end because of the love of both Luke and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Lots of fun stuff there. And then I thought we are also starting imagination for our theme this month. And I thought this is my one chance to talk about imagination because all of the rest of the services are booked up with Flower Communion and RE Appreciation and all that fun stuff. And I started to write a piece about why I don't like John Lennon's Imagine. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to save that for the newsletter. So the newsletter's coming out later today. You will hear the story about why I don't care for John Lennon's Imagine and how I got to a place where I can give it a second shot. But you got to read the newsletter for that. But what I am going to talk about today is the last of the 6 values that are in our 6 values bylaws. Just for fun, let's go through. Do y'all remember the values in the acronym JETPIG? What's J? Justice. E. T. P. I. G. Right. For those of you who are newer and hear mumbling and wondering what those words are, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity. I have done sermons on all of those except one, and that's the one we're covering today. Anybody know which one we're covering today? Lots of murmuring. Equity. Yes, someone can read the order of service. Excellent. We're going to be talking about equity today and the difference between equity and equality and our role in equity. How many feel that we are going through a very inequitable time right now? Yeah. We're going to do something about it. Thank you, my friends, for choosing to wake up in the rain and worship with us this morning. Your presence is a gift. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being here. Please join us now for a time of worship.
Our chalice lighting this morning is Why We're Here by Eric Walker Wickstrom. Here today, in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice that we light our way. Let us now rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, Just As Long As I Have Breath. The music can be found in the gray hymnal, number 6.
Still with hope I lead each day. morning. I'd like to invite anyone to come on up and get closer to the story, especially kiddos or youth. I do need a little help with this story today. So come on up. Hi. Anybody else? I need some peoples and some hearts here. All right, I'm going to start coming and handing things out to the audience, but you guys are going to help me, right? Okay. Would you like to check the Wonder Box for us today? You want to see what's in that box?
How do I see a blue person, red person?
You already see that, huh? Okay. What do we got in there today? Oh, here comes Sarah. I knew I could count on Sarah.
Sarah's going to take a short seat.
All right, do you want to bring me the things that are in that box? There should be 2 things in there. What do we got? We got Jet Pig. And what is this?
Band-Aids.
Say it again so they know.
Band-Aids.
Band-Aids. Okay, so I did bring out Jet Pig since we're talking about our values today. And we already learned we're talking about the E in Jet Pig, which is equity. All right, so today we're going to play a little game called We're at the UUFWC Hospital. Okay? And I'm going to hand out some boo-boos. I'll tell you that part a little bit. Okay, hand out some boo-boos. I'm going to hand this one to you. Okay. Can I give you guys some boo-boos? There you go. There you go. Thank you. Okay, Walter and Olivia. Now, at our hospital, of course, it's very important to us that we treat our patients fairly, right? We want everyone to get fair treatment at our hospital. So, Hawthorne, could you read us what your injury is?
I cut my hand.
You cut your hand. Okay. Here you go. Here's a Band-Aid. Okay, great. Let's come over to Olivia and let's see what happened to her.
I broke my leg.
Broke your leg. I'm so sorry to hear that. Here's a Band-Aid. Okay, Walter. Ooh. Oh, man. That sounds like a brutal cough.
I just keep coughing.
Oh, my gosh. No worries, because here at this hospital, we treat everyone fairly. Here's a Band-Aid. Let's see what yours says. Would you like to read it, or would you like any help?
My tooth hurts.
Can you say that again?
My tooth hurts.
Your tooth hurts. Oh, that's so painful. No problem. Here's a Band-Aid. Okay.
I sprained my ankle.
Oh, my gosh. Well, don't worry. At this hospital, we treat everyone fairly. Here's a Band-Aid. What's wrong with you?
I have the flu.
Oh, not the flu. That is terrible. Good news. We have a Band-Aid. Sarah, what's going on with you?
I feel depressed.
Oh, gosh. That is so hard. But don't worry. Here's a Band-Aid. What do we think about that? What do you think, Hawthorne? Did we fix everyone up at our hospital? You think so?
Yeah.
Something seemed a little strange about all that.
Yes.
What do you think?
Everyone got Band-Aids.
Well, we want to treat everyone fair at our hospital, right? Everyone gets the same thing. That's equality. They get the same thing. What do you think? Do you think that's going to work for everybody? A Band-Aid? Hi, guys. Come on up. Oh, you need a Band-Aid, too. Here's an injury. What happened to you?
I have a stomach ache.
Say it again.
I have a stomach ache.
Oh, gosh. No worries. No worries. I've got plenty of Band-Aids at this hospital. What's wrong with you?
I have a fever.
Oh, fevers are the worst. Okay, here's a Band-Aid. So you've all been treated equally at our hospital. Did that seem fair?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did everyone get what they need? No, they didn't quite get what they needed, did they?
I feel like they didn't do what they needed because Julian doesn't get a Band-Aid for a fever, and I don't get a stomach for a Band-Aid.
A Band-Aid for a stomach ache. You're exactly right. Yours, it worked. It was the right treatment for you. You cut your hand, but it wasn't the right treatment for everybody else. So sometimes equality, things being equal, isn't exactly fair. And in our JETPIG acronym, the E stands for equity. That's a little bit different than equality. Let's say them both. Equality, equity. All right, I have a picture to help describe equity, and we should have one that can go up on the screen. So you'll see here there's some kids that want to see a baseball game. Now you might notice one's kind of standing on a hill, one's standing a little bit down at the bottom, and someone tried to fix this problem through equality and gave them all the same exact box to stand on. Did it fix the problem for everybody? No, there's still people that cannot see the game. But over on this side, you notice that people got different size boxes that fit where they are standing. And now they can see the game, right?
Why are those both the same pictures except different boxes?
Well, they're trying to show the difference between equality and equity. And then another step we'll talk about another time would be justice. What would justice be? Tear the whole dang fence down, right? So everybody can see. All right. So I'm so glad I could fix you up with Band-Aids today at our little hospital. And I hope you know a little bit more today about equality versus equity. All right. We're going to sing our children and youth off to classes and youth group. Thank you. Would you mind putting Jet Pig on the shelf? Right over there. Yeah, that'd be great.
Please join me now in the spirit of meditation and of prayer. We're all in this together. One of the things we need to remember at all times, we are all connected. What happens to one on a much larger scale happens to us all. If one of us is not free, none of us are free. I keep seeing all of these people being singled out and hurt, being marginalized for who they are, being separated. And we are all connected, always. There is always space to love the stranger, to get to know, to get to respect, to get to love. Desegregation, separation, alienation is so counter to our souls. Let us remember that putting another down does not lift another up. But by lifting others up, we often lift ourselves. This is a world that needs a place that starts always in love. Each of one of you here, I know, has that within them. Start in love. May it be so. Each week we come to this community with different joys and sorrows. I want to let you know, Jim Bird told me earlier that his wife Inez is in the hospital. They're not 100% sure what's going on. She just went in yesterday, I believe, Jim. Inez appreciates thoughts and well wishes, and since this is all rather new, would appreciate cards and not visitors. This is a time when when you just are figuring out what's wrong. You need to regroup. If you want to show your love through a card, though, that's a great way to let them access it without necessarily overcrowding them. And Inez has done so much for this community. So if you know Inez, send her some love, send her a card. And it wouldn't hurt to check on Jim, too. When your spouse is going through it, it's hard. Whatever joys or sorrows you bring in, this is the time where you are allowed to put them down. If there is a sorrow weighing heavy on your heart, something that you brought in that you are having trouble letting go, as we sing Spirit of Life, I will encourage you to come up to our joys and sorrows table, to take a stone and to put your sorrow upon it. And then let that sorrow go. Let the water wash it away. And if there is a joy in your heart, I have a joy. My daughter celebrated her 21st birthday this week. You don't have to clap for that. All she did was age. And we went to the zoo. And that's all we did. But if there's a joy, something that holds your heart, I want you to put it in the water. Let that water ripple out and share the joy like ripples in the water. Let it touch everyone. Please, join me in singing Spirit of Life as we participate in our joys and sorrows ritual.
Our faith is centered on the belief that we can make this world a better place for all who dwell in it. In order to realize that vision, we need both the motivation and the means. Your donation helps the community put its faith into action by supporting our programming and facilities. This morning, and throughout the month of May, donations that are not designated for another purpose will be split with 180. 180 assists victims of domestic violence and provides any critical services, including mental health, community relations and prevention, housing and supportive services in Wayne and Holmes counties in Ohio. For those who are watching online or do not carry cash, you can donate on our website by scanning the QR code in the order of service and on the screen. The offering will now be collected and gratefully received. Join me in this unison reading. The words are on the screen. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. Today's reading is excerpt from Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. From time immemorial, men have lived by the principle that self-preservation is the first law of life. But this is a false assumption. I would say that other preservation is the first law of life. It is the first law of life precisely because we cannot preserve self without being concerned about preserving other selves. The universe is so structured that things go awry if men are not diligent in their cultivation of other regarding dimension. I cannot reach fulfillment without thou. The self cannot be self without other selves. Self-concern without other concern is like a tributary that has no outward flow to the ocean. Stagnant, still and stale, it lacks both life and freshness. Nothing would be more disastrous and out of harmony with our self-interest than for the developed nations to travel to the dead-end road of inordinate selfishness. We are in the fortunate position of having our deepest sense of morality coalesce with our self-interest.
That has to be one of my favorite King quotes. And many of you who have been here enough, it's like, yeah, well, you've used it often enough during the service, no wonder. Our own self-interest, network of mutuality, other preservation. As I mentioned earlier, we're talking about our 6 values. Today, we are talking about equity. For those of you keeping score, this should be the last one. Now, a couple of you may be going, I don't remember the Justice Sermon. Which one's the Justice Sermon? MLK Sunday. Who better to represent justice than MLK on his day? But today, we talk about equity. And again, really should talk more to Kelly because she covered so much of the difference between equity and equality. But I want to start off with a definition I saw from the Milken Institute School of Public Health, which is part of the George Washington University. They define it as such. Equality means each individual or group of people is given the same resources or opportunity. Here's your Band-Aid. Equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. Everybody gets their health needs helped, cured, taken care of in the ways that work for them. And Kelly used an illustration to do so. Chris? Mine's a little bit different. Right? Everybody is given a box in that first part, the right-hand side. Everyone's given a box to see over the fence. And as we talked earlier, this works great for 2 out of the 3 of the people, right? But our little short king in purple can't see over the fence to see how the guardians are doing. This is equality, where everyone is treated the same. Is everyone the same? No. Does everybody need the same resources to get by? How many of you are teachers or have taught in a classroom setting? Do you teach every same way to every kid? No. You teach the same curriculum 4 or 5 different ways depending on how the kid needs what they need. One size does not fit all, right? Some of those kids need more help than others. Some of them just move through the world in a different way, either literally or figuratively. As a faith that believes in diversity. As a faith that believes in pluralism, we get this idea as a basic concept. We understand that everybody has their own differences. Differences in ability, differences in culture, differences in circumstance. Do those differences diminish the person for who they are? You need to answer that one a lot quicker, folks. Do those differences diminish who the person is? No, because we're all a little bit different, especially in this group. Everyone who is different still maintains worth and dignity. Which brings us to the second part. We see that the little man over there in the purple has 2 boxes. How's he looking in that? Is he looking like he's having a good time? Do you think Jose Ramirez is up at bat? Right? He's having a great time. Our guy in the blue with no boxes, how's he doing? You know, usually, well, there are cases where you see a fist pumped and it's not a good time. I'm going to assume at this point it's a good time. I have questions about blue shirt guy, though. I wonder what happened to get to this position. Did it happen so that when it whole started, when they even go to the fence, there was a system in place that judged people by height to see what their needs were? And the blue shirt guy was never given a box. Or did the blue shirt guy, we had the first experience over here, and the blue shirt guy then realized the purple guy couldn't see and decided out of the goodness of his heart, I will give you my box. It will work much better. And there's a third option. Somebody comes along and says, hey, blue guy, give me your box. You don't need it. We're giving it to this guy. Somebody made him. It's one of the options that we don't always think about. A lot of us think that, oh, of course blue shirt guy would give that box away. And the other thing that's different in this photo, take a look at red shirt. Where's red shirt's attention in the first part? On the game. Where's their attention in the second half? They're on purple shirt. They're on our little purple short king. So let's talk about what the bylaws say about equity. Chris? Here's the text. Equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. Can we agree on that? Yes. We covenant, this is the action part, I always love my action parts. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. How many of you are familiar with the first principle of Unitarian Universalism, the old first principle? The inherent worth and dignity of every person. You notice that the first part of this, we declare that every person is inherently worthy. Inherently worthy, inherent worth and dignity. Do they mean the same thing? Boy, y'all aren't sure, are you? It's like he's got a trick planned. No trick. I think they mean basically the same thing. I think they basically mean the exact same thing. And I think there's a reason for that. How many of you, I know a couple of you took the Articulating Our UU Faith class before. The author of that class, Barbara Wells Tenhove, uses that curriculum to establish that there are 2 pillar principles in Unitarian Universalism, the first and the seventh. The first is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The seventh is the interdependent web of life of which we are all a part. And I think that's a very true sentiment for our faith. Those are 2 very key aspects to our faith. And so to see basically the first principle cribbed and basically copied into the values does not surprise me. Because it's something that is very important, and to be honest, it's something we all need to remember from time to time. I will say it again. I fully believe in the first principle until I get behind the wheel of my car. So that's one of the first things I notice. We are definitely keeping that promise. Second, it took me a while to think about this, but there's a different focus in this value than some of the others. Interdependence and transformation. Those values, they focus on the greater good of all existence. They're very big and broad terms. We are all connected in some way, and we are all changing with the universe. Very big, broad terms. Justice talks about multicultural respect, being able to respect different cultures and making sure that those are respected and honored, right? That there are systems in place. Generosity focuses on an inward generosity of spirit. I need to be a generous person. I need to love the world. Generosity. Right? Pluralism focuses on how we view others, right? Being able to respect their cultures and understand them and appreciate them. This focuses on others' needs more so than our own, right? Other preservation before self-preservation, like King mentioned. And it's not just about making those needs met. Part of it is understanding those needs, right? How do we help others? What's the best way to figure out how to help others in need? Ask. All right, I'm breaking. Story time. I worked with a congregation, and they were working with an inner city school, majority black, and there was someone in that congregation who had the idea to help give those kids something to do to help them focus their energy and keep them out of trouble. And do you know what it was? Taking them to the ballet. Elementary school kids. Not to say there aren't elementary school kids who could appreciate it, but I think as a wide, broad approach, that is a Band-Aid that is not going to work for a lot of people. And I was like, have you asked them what they want to do? And found out that they were into like their own street dancing. And they liked that. And the school brought in someone to help them teach all of the different dances and to bring in some social dance as well. And they really loved it. The best way to find out other people's needs is to ask and to not assume. You need to get to know them. It's not your idea that's important. It's what they need. This is about the other. Addressing their needs as individuals and addressing their cultural needs to make sure that they have what they need to function at the same level as everyone else. Equity is making sure that the inherent worth and dignity is met, even if it means going the extra mile for them. Or as I like to think of it, going the extra mile with them. Third, we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish. Not survive, not get by. Flourish. How many of you have been to a zoo? As I said, I went to a zoo yesterday. How many of you have been to a zoo like 50 years ago? What's the difference between a zoo 50 years ago and today? the habitats, right? I remember going to the zoo as a kid, and there was a tiger in a cage that was about the size from this table to there. Big old Bengal tiger. And do you know what she did all day? She paced back and forth, paced back and forth, paced back and forth. Did she survive? Did she get by? Did she live? Yeah. What was in that cage with her? A little hay, maybe a ball, maybe a tire, a little chute for food to come out. Bare necessities met. Is that thriving? Is that flourishing? You seen the zoos, some of the really good exhibits today? Oh my gosh, they let those tigers hide in tall grass. I paid my $20 at the door. I want to see that tiger. No, tiger has the right to not be seen. Tiger has the right to say, I'm tired. Tiger has the right to have an environment that makes them feel at home. Tiger has a right to flourish. That's the difference between allowing someone to survive, to get by, to have the bare minimum, to trying to figure out what their needs are. Do you imagine? I don't know a whole lot about zookeeping. I have to imagine they did studies. They worked hard to try to figure out what those needs were as much as possible. Do you think it cost those zoos more? Is it worth it? Helping people to thrive. That's what equity is about. Working to change the systems so that all can thrive. Can we go back to the cartoon? You should just do a forward slide. There you go. There are 3 ways I suggested about the man in blue and how he went from 1 box to no boxes. 1, never had the box to begin with. That was my first suggestion, right? So we're talking about ways to get equity in the world. 1 is to have a system in place already that makes sure that equity happens, right? Let's imagine that they go behind the fence and there's a guy out there. It's like, okay, how tall are you? Okay, 4'9", 2 boxes. 5'3", you get 1 box. 6 foot, you need to squatch a little bit. But no, you don't need a box, right? Have we seen systems like this in our country? Yeah, we have. Affirmative action, right? Making sure people who were denied a foot in the door culturally in the first place, because of their race, because of their identity, because of their culture, they were given opportunities to get that foot in the door, to be in a better school, to have a chance at that better job, right? That was the goal. Equity. You know where else we see equity? Where are my teachers at again? Where are my teachers at again? All right. How many of you know that students that need special accommodation? Right? So they've got something going on where they need individual, individual education maybe. And maybe they need a program to help them with that individual education, an individual education program. Where are my teachers who know where I'm going with this? IEP. Y'all know what an IEP is? All right, for those who don't know, an IEP is when a student comes in who's got differing abilities, who needs some extra help in order to get the services they need. An IEP could be anything from having a translator. Maybe they're deaf. Maybe they speak a different language, so they need a translator in the room. Does every student get a translator? It'd be kind of fun, but no. Right? Maybe they have a mobility issue. Right? And so they need someone to help carry things with them or to help move them from classroom to classroom, or they get special dispensation to either leave early or arrive late. Not every student gets what's on an IEP for one. That is a system to create equity. That is making sure that people get extra boxes if they need it. Idea number 2 of how we got an equitable system in that second half. This is the one a lot of us love. Man in blue just gave it up out of the goodness of his heart. How many of you would give up the box if you didn't need it? Pretty easy, right? Pretty easy. This is the impulse I think we all need to strive for. This is the impulse I want to see in the world. That you can do something about it. And I'm going to give you an example of where a lot of us would act on it and the complications it brings. Karen, I apologize. I'm going to pick on you. You're at the grocery store, Karen. There's an item on the top shelf. For those of you who don't know Karen, Karen is 5'2", 5'1". Karen is there at the grocery store trying to get that item on the top shelf. You see her struggling to get it. How many of you who are over 5'6" are going to help Karen? Or any other stranger you see? Yeah. You know why? How much time is that going to take you? 2 seconds? 10 seconds? Nothing. Real easy. Be personable. Be a great person. Well, let's talk about the system here. What kind of grocery store makes it so that short people can't get food? Oh, now we've got a systemic problem, right? Is that a systemic problem? Tall things? Okay, so maybe we've got a systemic issue with this. So what do we do to help as an individual? We're going to let Karen, we're going to help her out and grab something for her. Karen, I'm going to assume you've been shopping all day. You're making a big grocery run, and you got lots of items that are on short shelves or on tall shelves. How many of you are staying with Karen and shopping with her the entire time? Yes, Dawn, I know you would do that. You have that heart, and I love you for it. Dawn, you're a better person than I. If I'm at the grocery store, I am working like the Dickens to get out of there as much as possible. Hardest floors in the world. But that's equity, isn't it? We stick with them the entire time. Is that realistic in that moment? No. Often we want the system to correct itself. We want people to share their surplus. We want people to always do the right thing. And yes, I believe people are inherently good, and I cannot trust that they will act in others' self-interest 100% of the time. I want us to have that feeling in our heart. I want us to act as much as possible. And sometimes we need to be inconvenienced to do the right thing. And I don't want to have to go through the grocery store all day. I want systems in place. The only time I am ever going to follow someone through the grocery store and follow them to make sure they get all of the items on the tall shelf is when I'm shopping with my wife, who is 5 foot. Because that is technically my job. She tells me, come on, I need tall things. We can't just have short people in grocery stores pull themselves up by their bootstraps to reach the tallest shelf. We need to work on systems. And I went off script, so I'll be right there. Hold on. This leads me to my third supposition regarding how our short purple guy got that second box. Somebody came along. Somebody came along and told the tall guy, you need to give up your box. Someone worked to dismantle a system of oppression, of inequality that they saw, and they were holding those blue shirt who were exploiting the system to get something extra. They held them accountable. We have a country that has a lot of systems that claim to be equal, but aren't equitable. Civil rights. It's going to be my example. What did civil rights do? Gave black people the right to vote. Everybody has the right to vote, equal. So what happened when that right came out? Suddenly there were literacy tests for people of color in order to allow them to vote. Have you ever seen one of those literacy tests? The most obscure, unsolvable questions ever. There was an equal system that was monitored inequitably. And after a lot of protesting, lobbying, and action, laws were passed to stop this equal system and to make it equitable. I love the idea of being in the world where everybody is in that second situation, where everybody says, you know what, I see that you are suffering, I see that you are not able to get where you need to be, and I will help you. I want to trust we will all do that. And we cannot live in a world where we entirely rely on the kindness of strangers, of an unwritten code. I want us to work not with individuals, but also systemically. What can we do to make it equitable for everyone? We need to work to bring equality, to equity. Last thing I noticed. Our red dude. Our red guy in here, his focus changes. I don't know if this is intentional from the cartoonist or not, but that red guy seems to be enjoying his friend enjoying the game more than he's enjoying the game. One of the greatest things in the world is to be able to see someone who isn't allowed to flourish be able to flourish. One of the most beautiful things in the world, if you think about it and take yourself out of the equation, is to see others succeed where they have had strife. To be able to see them rise above with the help that they deserve. To make sure everyone flourishes and to see that flourishing happen. That is the greatest gift. That is something we all should be able to witness. May it be so. All right, I know I have a hymn here. Chris, what's our closing hymn? Building a New Way. That sounds fitting. Let's build a new way of equity for everybody. Please rise, embody your spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 1017, in the Teal hymnal, Building a New Way. And sing it with fervor.
We
Please be seated. Going through those 6 values, I think this one might be the hardest. This one demands the most of us. This one demands that we focus on the other. And that's hard. And I don't know about you. How many of you feel like you've been spending a lot of time focusing on the other because there's a lot of others who need focusing on? Are you running into a little compassion fatigue? Are you tired? Are you sick of all of the injustice, sick of all the inequality? Guess what? That's why you're here. That's why you're with each other. You don't do this work alone. You don't ever do this work alone. And you don't ever do this work without rest. Fill your cup before you pour out. Come here to this community. Find your other friends, your other support networks. Don't ever do that. Oh my gosh. Don't ever do this alone. Lean on each other. Find your support. Gather your strength. Know that you can do this as a powerful community. Get together and make crafts and phone calls. Get down on the square. Get a letter writing party together for your represented electives. I don't care what you do, as long as you do it with support and with that kind of energy. Go out. You have the capability to make this world a better place. And God, do we need you right now. May it be so.